mama uyaribona mama asi
not once, not twice, literally every time when Assumes podium, there was a point where he said, if you are strong, please give to others. I also give others. But then we suspected that he knows that Tau is going to win, because we received a huge applause when the candidates were introduced. So when he went back to the podium, he said, please, if you know you are strong, hand over to the others, share this responsibility. They said, no, we're not sharing anything here. No sharing. We're going to win this thing. But I was about to say, first, let's appreciate the leadership of the chair. I think he has really gave time to say it. You would know what happened after the elections. I spent literally the whole of that week with him and the rest of the team of Johannesburg. And I was worried because we know we can't win this thing. We must just stop the campaign. The campaign was almost at the point where it's maturing. And then just at the verge we lose the elections, people campaigned. So I thought this thing is gone. We convened a session with the rest of the team. What do we do? Kolile is going outside. He says to me, let's ask the chair to resign. Said, who's going to do it? I said, so the following minute I went to him and said, Chief, I think it's time to leave this. So Kolile says, did you talk to him? No, I told him. I said, Rampo. Chair, thank you very much. The chair says, okay, we do have a good candidate, comrade, I must tell you. But there was a time where I also thought, he doesn't want that thing again. I said, hey, this thing can't be right. So try him, and let's continue this. And I think Wednesday, I see him in the real UN. No, by the way, me and him went to meet Ban Ki-moon. And that was a high privilege to touch the hand of Ban Ki-moon and say, the Secretary General of the United Nations. He says, hello, Parks. Yeah, this is good. But I think the summary of what the president did on the last session of the Habitat Trade. I mean, there were a panel of expertise, who are real guys who know these things properly. And when he was doing his summary as a closing session, you could know we do have a candidate. We have a guy who has actually baptized in this. I mean, he was extraordinary. And I saw the secretariat from Barcelona jump into him as they closed the session to go and hug him. They felt we were well represented. There was a time in the conference in Bogota, he was hijacked, literally. Come and say something. So I said to him, what are you going to say? He said, I don't know. He walked to the podium, and he did extremely well. So I think we should, in a way, create a network of support for him to become good in this responsibility. He's trusted by the whole world, and the results will tell you the story. That us as the ANC, as family, as friends, as comrades, the worst we could do to him is to give him support to do this work and succeed. I must also say, Kolile, on behalf of the leadership of SALGA, that we appreciate the support and the commitment you gave to us throughout the process until today. We will go back to the NEC of Salga to give a report. We actually come here to hand Parks back to the country and say he's the president of UCLG. What was more interesting was that Africa was fully united. This thing that you see them in FIFA fighting for president, we took together one voice. And we agreed that the president of AfriCities, who also the mayor of Dakar, Senegal, to lead the delegation. And I think we succeeded very well. So once more, Comrade Dara, thank you very much for the welcome and the organization to provide support. Comrade Dara went to do some part of the work in China. Yeah, when we were going to do some campaigning, we took the secretary together to China, and I think your contributions can go unnoticed. Thank you very much for. I'm sorry,
but I had a problem of showing him the SMS because he would have celebrated. So I asked him, Bachan, are you able to contain your emotion? He says, yeah. So he's sitting on my left, and the president of United Cities and Local Governments in Africa is sitting on the right. The Secretary General of Africa is there as part of the counting. He went out during the counting, and we were panicking. This man is depressed. So he comes back, and he's poker-faced, very serious. Sorry. I talked to the president on my right, saying, Mr. President, it doesn't look good. Mbasi looks very unhappy. So he says, yeah, no, Mbasi looks very unhappy. I'm also not confident. So I get the SMS that says, no, gives us the results of the vote. Can you contain the emotion? Says, yeah. So I'm showing the SMS, but I'm controlling it. Also celebrate. And just before that, the Russians stood up, were hugging each other because they got the result. So they hug, and others leave. So we say, no, we lost. And somebody said, hey, Nati 22 is your spin. Nati 22 is your spin. No, but thank you very much. I think I myself do not take for granted the confidence that has been bestowed on me by the leadership of the South African Local Government Association, by the leadership of the United Cities and Local Governments in Africa, by insisting that we should continue with the campaign, because the leadership insisted that we should continue the campaign, that it would be important for all of Africa that our candidacy remains. When President Sall, the president of Africa, called and said, can South Africa find a solution because we want to continue the candidacy? The chairperson of Salga called me and said, well, I'm stepping down to allow you, I'm going to Parliament, so I'm going to step down so that we can persuade the NEC to appoint you as the national chairperson of Salga, which would mean that you are still eligible to continue, because you can be president of UCLG on the basis of either being a mayor or being a head of a local government association. So on the basis of that, the chairperson of Salga said, well, he's been persuaded by President Sall, who's the president of Africa, that we should find a solution to this situation as South Africans, and he thinks that it is important that we continue the campaign. Together with the deputy chair of Salga, the decision was then relayed to me. I had to go to council when the NEC made the decision. So the NEC met in Mangaung, made a decision that we should, one, continue the campaign, secondly, that I should chair the South African Local Government Association. And on the basis of that, we were able to pursue the candidacy for World President of the United Cities and Local Governments. It was a campaign, as all campaigns are. It is very difficult, it's very tough. Even on the morning of the voting, there were still discussions about, can we find a solution? And what are the possible solutions to avoid an election? But ultimately, we had to go through an election. And the responsibility that has been bestowed to lead all of local government in the world is indeed very important, because it says that we have a duty to ensure the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals at a local level. As we say, to responsibilize the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals, to ensure the implementation of the new urban agenda that was adopted at UN Habitat in the past week. The conferences were back to back, so we had to leave Bogota in Colombia. We had to leave Bogota in Colombia and immediately go and represent the United Cities and local governments at UN Habitat in Quito, Ecuador, and ensure that the voice of local government is heard. The World Assembly of Regional and Local Governments took place on the Sunday after the Conference of United Cities and Local Governments, and immediately after that we had to also go into the United Nations system to represent the issues of local government. And as you know, the new urban agenda ultimately is a municipal agenda. It is about what happens at the local level. So the new urban agenda that's been adopted in the past week is about the responsibility of local government in many ways to implement the Sustainable Development Goals, to implement the Paris Agreement on Climate Change, to localize the Addis Ababa Action Agenda on Financing for Development, and the Sendai Framework on disaster risk management. So all these important decisions that have been reached at the local level were culminating in the new urban agenda that was adopted in the past week, and the responsibility, therefore, of local government to take forward these important global agreements and to improve the quality of life of all of humanity. So indeed, it's an overwhelming responsibility, but one that we would have to undertake with the diligence that we can master, understanding that we represent South Africa, represent Africa, and we have a responsibility to ensure that in fact our leadership is representative of what Africa can indeed provide in terms of leadership to global organizations. Thank you very much. And thank you very much, comrades. The juicy part. Oh, cannot
No, thanks, comrades. I'm not good with juicy parts. But for your benefit, I think there are a few important matters that you need to take cognizance of. One, this campaign actually started last year in November.
Mama, asi pasabitina.